Hello, I'm Cheryl Cisneros, and I am the Grassroots Oregon Go Project coordinator for the Oregon Developmental Disabilities Coalition. And we're putting together a series of videos to help you connect with your legislator. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Jennifer Knapp. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer's going to be sharing with us today on how to schedule a visit with your legislator. So Jennifer, what do you need to think about when scheduling a visit with your legislator?
Thanks, Cheryl. There are really three main steps in making an appointment with your legislator. Number one is you have to figure out who are you going to make the appointment with. Number two is what do you want to say? And then number three is how do you actually make it happen?
Great. So how do you find out who to contact?
So the state of Oregon has actually made it pretty easy for us with a website. And before we go there, I want to make sure that everybody knows that for your legislators, you actually have two for the state level. You have one representative and you have one senator. So we're going to take a look at it's called the legislator lookup. And if you'll see my screen here that we've gone to oregonlegislature.gov, find your legislator. And up here in the corner, you can put in your address. And you will see for my area, it will pop up once you put your address in, who is in the House, which would be your representative, and then who is in your Senate, and that is the senator. And so right there, nice and easy, you can figure out who are the people that represent you in the legislature.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your screen and showing us how to do that. So now that you know who to contact, what's the next step?
So now is probably the most important step of figuring out what you want to say. And I think it's good for us to think about this also in three steps. And that is first to be able to introduce yourself. Second, to tell what it is that you care about. And third, to tell the legislator why it is that they should care about it too.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about how to introduce yourself? What does that look like?
Yes. So this should be pretty short and sweet. This is not a place to tell your whole life story. Pretty much what you need to do is say your name and what your role is. So are you a person with a disability who receives services? Are you a provider? Are you a parent? Are you just a concerned citizen? Telling the people, the legislator, what your role is and why you care is the first step in introducing yourself.
Awesome. Is it important to mention your city or what area of the state you live in when you contact them?
Yes, the legislators often like to keep track of who is calling them. And so to be able to say your city that you live in is helps them to know that you're really from Oregon and should have a voice in what's happening in Oregon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then also, what you mentioned something about sharing what you care about. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so this is going to either be a phone call or an email. So it's going to be pretty short, but as you're thinking about what you want to say, you can be specific. So for example, I think we all know that the DD Coalition has four big priorities. That is to increase DSP wages, to fund the case management system, to fund the family networks, and then to get a data management system. So if there's one of those that you really care about, I think it'd be good to go ahead and put that in your topic. So for example, you might want to say, what your name is and where you're from and what your role is. And then, what I really want to talk to you about is increasing the wages for direct support workers.
Oh, perfect. Okay. And then why, so do you talk to them about why you're contacting them specifically, or do they already know that?
Great question. And I think it's always good to let them know why you picked them. So as we talked about before, if they are in your district, legislators always like to hear specifically from people who are in their district because they know that you can vote for them. And so if you are contacting somebody who is in your district, let them know that you are their constituent.
Yep, that's a key word, isn't it? So that's like your magic word when contacting your state senator or your state representative is constituent. It's a hard word to say, it's a hard word to remember, but it is super, it's like a magic password almost, because it really helps them to know that the people that are in their district um, are, speaking out to them so that they're, that's their job. They're representing you. So awesome. Thank you for sharing that magic password.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's if you are contacting your own legislator, that's exactly what to do, is just let them know that you are their constituent. But it's also possible that you might be contacting them because they are on a committee who makes decisions about the things that you care about. So
awesome.
if that's the case, then let them know that's the reason that you're contacting them.
Okay, perfect. So you would say something like, I'm reaching out to you because you're on the Health and Human Services Committee for Ways and Means, which does the budgeting, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. And then how do you actually make an appointment with a legislator's office?
So there's two main ways. One is to call them and the other way is to email them.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen with you again to show you back to that same website that we looked at before. And if you see, we'll look at, for the senator, down here on the bottom, you can click and that will take you right to the information about that legislator.
Awesome.
And then here on the top is the phone number. And so this is the direct phone number to this senator, and you can call him and say that you would like to make an appointment.
Great. And then what if you want to email? I see an email address there.
Exactly. So that is just a little bit lower right here. It is their email address. That is another way for you to contact them directly.
Perfect. And then so now we know who to contact and what phone number to use or what email to use. How do you actually frame your email if you're going to be doing it that way?
Yeah. So one of the things to think about is the subject line. As we know with emails, that subject line always matters. And so this is where it's important to be really direct and to say that you're wanting to schedule up an appointment about, for example, DSP wages or whatever it is, but short and sweet, but let them know that you're wanting to actually schedule an appointment.
Okay, that sounds really good. And then are there some other things to think about when scheduling appointments with your legislators, whether you make a phone call or whether you do an email? What else should we be thinking about?
Yeah, so we have those three things. When you make the call or when you write the email, you want to introduce yourself. You want to tell them the topic that you care about and why you're picking them. And then you got to find the actual time that the two of you are going to talk. And this is where, again, since it's 2021, everything is a little different. And so either depending on the legislator, they might schedule a Zoom or a phone call with you, or they might ask you to set that up. And so there might be a little bit of back and forth between you and them to actually set the appointment.
Okay. And so you can give them a preference on whether you like video conferencing on Zoom or whether you like phone calls. You can let them know what works best for you.
Correct. And this is where if you're doing it over the phone, you'll have that back and forth right in real time. And if you're doing it over email, there might end up being several emails to actually get it scheduled.
Okay, I see. And then what if the legislator is not available? What if they offer to have you speak to someone on their staff? Is that okay?
That's actually great.
Awesome.
Legislator staff do a lot of work and they know a lot of information. And so it's really important to be able to talk to staff just as it is to legislators.
Awesome. So thank you so much for sharing how to make an appointment and what to say and what to think about and how to actually do it and who to contact. So this has been really great information. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Is there anything else that we should think about when we're making an appointment with our legislator?
Yeah, so once you've done it, once you actually have the appointment set, there's some things that you should probably do to set yourself self up for success. One thing is just to write it down. So maybe you use a calendar, maybe you use some sort of a notebook or post-it notes or whatever your method is. Make sure you write it down so you remember.
Awesome.
The second thing is to let the people in your support circle know. So it might be that you need somebody to help you make this happen. Make sure that they know when the time is that you're going to be meeting. And then third is to set reminders for yourself. All of us need help remembering when our appointments are. And so to have it in our calendar, but then also set a reminder will help us be prepared.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jen. This is super helpful. I know it's going to help a lot of people when they want to schedule an appointment with their legislator. Thank you so much.